just want to watch the world burn. That's been taken out of the club. They're frustrated with that. The dividends taken by directors was at 1.1 billion. He said, you've United fans up. United fans travelling their thousands, spending money they haven't got. So all that goes into the mix. So it's certainly no quick fix. And I think United fans aren't finished with this.
There's been a pretty fierce debate over these last 2 weeks over who should be taking over Manchester United. The problems with any sort of Qatari bid. The problems with any sort of bid from Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS. The biggest problem of all remains the Glazers, and until they are out of our football club, that will always be my biggest problem. And stuff has started to emerge over these last 72 hours, which explains exactly why that is still my stance. 17 years the fight's been going on against the Glazers. Do not let up now. Let me please explain it and lay it all down in simple terms in this 10-minute video. All right, share it around with other Reds. We have to make sure that this focus is maintained. Now, of course, when back in November, when the Glazers released the statement, strategic alternatives to enhance the club's growth, and we know what happened after that. Look at the share price spike that happened from November. It's been booming upwards, and the Glazers, well, they could well be cashing in. And there have been arguments left, right, and centre as to who the best bid is. From a Qatari perspective, we should be focusing on the human rights side of things. And I will be covering that in more detail. And you can look at, and then you can go across and you can look at INEOS and you can speak about their ownership of Lausanne or Nice in the same way you can speak about the ownership of PSG from Qatar. You can speak about problems and concerns about INEOS and how they act and about the debt refinancing. And trust me, you can pick holes in both of them. The biggest hole of all is the one you can pick about the Glazers and potentially staying on at Manchester United. Now, the Wall Street Journal has confirmed that multiple bids have gone in for Manchester United. We're not just talking about the two from INEOS and the Qatari bid. Those two were made public by the bidders. Several more offers poured in for both partial stakes in the club and to acquire the team outright. And we know exactly what one of those is. And that's the Elliott hedge fund, an investment fund out in America that basically, when they got involved in AC Milan, they effectively took over like a bankrupt. They took AC Milan further down. Wall Street Journal has confirmed that the Elliott Group are giving the Glazers a way to get that minority investment that they want, to give them the way of staying at Manchester United. And the BBC are covering this now. Why the Glazers might end up staying at Old Trafford. And there's one thing that has really just pissed me off no end. And that's this point here. Let me read it out to you. Since the initial announcement last year, club sources have stressed that strategic alternatives did not just mean a sale, even though this is what many have focused on. It has now been established both Sheikh Jassim and INEOS have received communication from the Rain Group asking them to stop making what they regard as vitriolic public statements, including terms such as returning United to its glory years, which they viewed as implied criticism of the Glazers. Yeah, I think it was. And we go back and we look at the statement here. The bid, this is the Qatari bid. The bid plans to return the club to its former glories, both on and off the pitch. We look at the INEOS bid here. We are ambitious and highly competitive and want to invest in Manchester United and make them the #1 club in the world again. This idea that the Glazers' ego is getting offended by the fact that they are rightly being called out for their shit ownership of this football club. When was the last time that we won the Premier League? I'm going to be putting that comment up in a little bit and that one there. These two comments I'm going to speak about here, right? Sorry, I broke my own order. When was the last time that we won the Premier League? Yeah, it was back in 2012. 10 years ago. When was the last time we lifted big ears? Back in 2008. 14 years ago. And I'm hearing that the Glazers are getting offended because new owners are coming in saying we want to bring the club back to its former glories, that we want to make Man United the number one club in the world again, that we want to get United winning Champions Leagues again and Premier Leagues again. If you're that damn offended by it, how about you had done something over the last 17 years to maybe achieve that? Honestly, it staggers you that you think, nah, surely not. How the Glazers think like this, I can't get my head around it. And I can't even celebrate the idea here that FSG have confirmed that Liverpool's only up for a minority sale now. And it leaves United, it leaves me with I don't know. I'm just in this position. Last week when we saw that the bid was coming in from the Qatari bid and the idea was going to be around about 5 billion, I was celebrating. I was like, there's no way the Glazers are going to stay. And still the logical, practical part of me is saying, how on earth can they not sell when the bids are going to be that size? Man United registered in the Cayman Islands because they're arseholes and they can get all that tax-free. Why would you hold on to it? Would it just be from an ego perspective? I can't rule that out. Would it just... honestly, that I can't... From a business perspective, there is no logic to it. Now, right now, Manchester United, we're heading in the right direction on the pitch. Erik ten Hag really has helped to transform the way we are operating, the way we are looking, and things are on the up. But as Gary Neville points out here, I agree. Man United have just increased the season ticket prices by 5%. And it's a bit of a weird thing to do, to introduce before a season where you're not supposed to be the owners. What you're trying to do, cause issues for new owners? You want to try and drive the price up. You would help that. It's a bit odd and it's a bit weird. And what I'm trying to say with this video is the energy now has to be louder than ever with the protests. The 1958 releasing this statement after the news about the Elliott, the Elliott investment group here. This is what they said. You will have seen the press release announcing that Elliott Investment Management are prepared to fund the Glazers to remain at the club. This is a company that invests in bankrupt businesses, which should tell you a story of the Glazer decay, a company that also ruined AC Milan. We urge fans to stay the course and keep believing. And remember this, share price is artificially high due to the full sale speculation. I covered that earlier in the video. You can see it's at its highest rate, I believe, since little peak there, I think, after when Solskjaer became manager. It's way in it. It's artificially high. That's the point. Any investor will never realize potential profits while this family are involved in our club. The Glazers are universally despised and will never be accepted. They are done. We will trigger future financial destabilization strategies if needed against any Glazer business or collaborator. We warned about the type of family they are when the club formally announced strategic alternatives and how this may play out. It is the responsibility of any fan or supporter who claim they love their club to play their part. We will never accept anything other than a full sale. This is to safeguard the future of our club and for the future generation. And I suppose this is my warning that I'm trying to serve with this platform here on United People's TV. We fought this hard. The Green and Gold campaign has lasted for, coming on 2 decades now. Don't stop now. The Glazers clearly, now this might just be a negotiation tactic to try and artificially drive that price higher so they can get more in their coffers. But don't let up. Don't rest. This is the biggest problem with any takeover. You can speak about any issues you got with Qatari takeovers or INEOS. But this right here, this is the biggest problem. The idea that the Glazers could somehow find a way to stay at the club. Keep fighting. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep the energy up, because as much as we like to think it's all over now that the Qatar bid has come in, it seems like this fight is only just getting started because of the family that the Glazers are. Fucking hell. Proper leeches.